Chapter 0061 You Are Blind. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dare the handyman disciples come out? Zhou Xian felt that he had been humiliated. He was an outstanding inner disciple of the Blood Knife sect, and now the handyman disciples of the Qingyun sect came out to fight with him. Isn't this humiliation? What is it? What's wrong with the handyman disciple? To deal with this scum like you, our Qingyun sect doesn't need any experts, the handyman disciple is enough. Qin Chu smiled. Is it shameful to be a handyman disciple? Qin Chu didn't feel ashamed, at least no one in the Qingyun sect felt that he was ashamed. The people of the Blood Knife sect felt that the status of the handyman disciples was low, so it would be better to prove it. Su Shanhe, there is no one in your Qingyun sect. Do you need a handyman disciple to come out to fight? Su Shui from the Blood Knife sect looked at Su Shanhe. Don't you dare to fight? Su Shanhe said. He wanted Qin Chu to fight. If he won, he would be better off. If he lost, it would be like getting rid of a scourge. Su Shui turned to look at Zhou Xian. Kill until some of the minions dare not fight. After listening to Su Shui's words, a sinister smile appeared on Zhou Xian's face. Wouldn't it be better to be your handyman? I will come here to seek death. I will chop off your legs first, then chop off your hands, and then put your hand in your mouth. You don't know what death means. Whatever you have to do, I will give it back to you. Use the sword. Let me see if your strength is directly proportional to the skill you say. Qin Chu's face showed the main reason for the murderous intention was that Zhou Xian was too arrogant, and extremely vicious this time. Aha! A cold light flashed. Zhou Xian drew his sword and chopped off Qin Chu's head. Qin Chu moved his feet and took 2 steps forward. The Qingling sword was unsheathed and thrust out to meet Zhou Xian's sword. There was a crisp sound, and Zhou Xian was so shocked by Qin Chu's sword that he couldn't stop retreating. Although Qin Chu did not use the sword spirit realm, he had practiced basic swordsmanship to great perfection and his eyesight was strong enough. Before Zhou Xian's sword could move and his strength and vitality exploded, the Qingling sword struck the weak point of the opponent's sword. Complete the blockade. The sword worked. Qin Chu's long sword swung, pressing down on Zhou Xian and began to attack. Zhou Xian's sword slashed quickly, trying to get rid of Qin Chu's suppression, but Qin Chu's long sword was like a tarsal maggot. Every attack made him extremely uncomfortable, making him unable to use any force. Before he could the sword spread out and was cut off by Qin Chu's attack. Aren't you going to cut off my legs? If this is the strength, then I can only tell you that you are going to be in trouble. Qin Chu said coldly after knocking Zhou Xian back with a sword. You fucking die. Zhou Xian roared, and charged at Qin Chu again. Qin Chu didn't attack, giving him a chance to breathe, so he jumped up again. At this time, Qin Chu's eyes flashed with light. He shook his long sword, and with the blessing of his sword intention, he unleashed the shocking transformation of the Jingxian sword art, ding. With a crisp sound, Qin Chu's Qingling sword shook Zhou Xian's sword away. The sword's light flickered and cut off Zhou Xian's right arm. Then the Qingling sword shook and pressed against Zhou Xian's throat. I'll leave it for you. I've got a left arm, come on, eat your own left arm now, and I'll let you live. It's cold. The main reason was that the change was too fast. As soon as Zhou Xian jumped, Qin Chu broke his right arm and put his sword at his throat. Are you going to eat? The Qingling sword in Qin Chu's hand shook and pierced Zhou Xian's right knee directly. You dare. Seeing this scene, Su Shui became anxious. If Zhou Xian compromised, the Shuidao sect would be humiliated. Luo Zhen dodged and stood between Qin Chu and Su Shui. There's nothing you dare not do. Can't you Blood Blade sect afford it? You can only kill my Qingyun sect disciples. Qingyun sect disciples can't kill Blood Sword sect disciples. Don't want to eat. Qin Chu's green spiritual sword shook again, piercing Zhou Xian's left knee. Both legs and knees were pierced, and Zhou Xian fell directly to the ground. During the battle, killing people could only be done with a nod of the head, not because Qin Chu wanted to be so cruel, but because when Zhou Xian fought with him, he spoke too eloquently. Qin Chu also knew that if he lost, Zhou Xian would not let him go. Qin Chu's long sword was pressed against his throat, and Zhou Xian could only put his wrist in his mouth and bite it. Trash without personality. Seeing this scene, Qin Chu swung his long sword and cut Zhou Xian's throat, then took away Zhou Xian's sword and storage bracelet. These were all trophies, so it was normal to accept them. After collecting the battle trophies, Qin Chu returned to the crowd at Qingzhou Peak. He once again proved that the handyman disciple was no rookie. Zhou Xian's body was dragged back by the disciples of the Blood Knife sect. Everyone in the Blood Knife sect looked at Qin Chu. Although Zhou Xian was not the strongest among the inner disciples of the Blood Knife sect, he was still at the top, but he was killed by Qin Chu in just a few blows. What do you want me to do? I said, I am enough to clean up the scum of your Blood Knife sect. I am a handyman disciple. If you are not convinced, you can fight again. Qin Chu was looked at by the disciples of the Blood Knife sect with unkind eyes. I feel unhappy. The Blood Knife sect has killed several Qingyun sect disciples. Now I can't bear to kill one of them. What's this? I can't afford it. Get out and die. Another young man stood out from the crowd at Blood Knife sect. You are not afraid of death, then come and fight. Qin Chu took a few steps forward. He could not see the other party's cultivation level, but he knew that the other party was definitely not above the 4th level. If it was above the 4th level, the senior officials of Qingyun sect would speak. This disciple of the Blood Knife sect swung his sword and charged towards Qin Chu. The sword was very fierce and he was at the peak of the 3rd level of cultivation. When the Blood Knife sect came to fight against the Qingyun sect, they naturally would not prepare a single disciple. The few people Su Shui brought were all the strongest among the inner disciples of the Blood Knife sect. Qin Chu's green spirit sword was launched, and with the sword's intention on it, he fought with the disciples of the Blood Knife sect. Seeing Qin Chu's sword skills, the senior officials of Qingyun sect were filled with excitement, because they saw that Qin Chu's sword skills were blessed by the true meaning of swordsmanship. Just now, Qin Chu killed Zhou Xian too fast and they didn't react. Now they can see it clearly. Another young sect disciple has mastered the sword intention. This is a big deal. There are a few practitioners in the Qingyun sect who have mastered sword intent, but they have practiced for many years, and Shang Shuyu and Qin Chu are both under the age of 20, which shows that they have a bright future. As a clear sound came out, Qin Chu's Qingling sword shook away the sword of the Blood Sword sect disciple, and the Qingling sword pierced his throat. Swinging the long sword, he shook away the blood beads. After sheathing the sword, Qin Chu collected the spoils of war. Damn the courageless gangster, he actually pretended to be a handyman disciple to paralyze our Blood Knife sect. 2 of his disciples were killed. Su Shui's expression changed, because Qin Chu had mastered the sword intention, which was difficult to win. Courageless bandits. I can only say that you are blind. I, Qin Chu, am a handyman disciple of Qingzhou Peak. Does this need to be false? Besides, I don't want to fight. It's you who are from the Blood Knife sect who are pointing your noses and scolding me. I can't help it. If you want to fight now, I'll play with you. Come on, next one. After 2 battles, Qin Chu became more energetic and eager to fight. Chapter 0062 Don't Mess With Me. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Su Shui stretched out his hand to stop the other Blood Knife sect disciples who were about to fight. He looked at Qin Chu with murderous eyes. Do you know that your current behavior will bring you death? You should be very confident to challenge the Qingyun sect. Are you weak now? I don't understand. You didn't ask about the details of the Qingyun sect before you came. Didn't you know that I, Qin Chu, can't be messed with? Point at my nose and scold me. And now you are threatening me. What do you think? Looking at Su Shui and the disciples of the Blood Sword sect, Qin Chu's eyes were full of disdain. It was the Blood Sword sect that wanted to fight, but now it is the blood sword sect that has withered first. Su Shui frowned. Could it be that Qin Chu was famous in Qinyan sect? But the blood knife sect was on the inside of Qinyan sect, and the name Qin Chu was not mentioned. Several major forces in Nanyan province have arranged manpower within the Qinyan sect in order to conquer the Qinyan sect. What happened this time was that the spies of the blood knife sect acted according to the order and sent the information about the inner disciples and core disciples of the Qinyan sect back to the blood knife. Qin Chu, a handyman disciple, was not on the list. It was mainly passed on by the blood sword sect. The spies' order was to collect information on the core disciples and inner disciples, not the handymen. Is anyone out? You came to Qinyan sect not to fight, but to eat. Seeing that the people from the blood knife sect were silent and unwilling to fight, Qin Chu shouted. Boy, don't be arrogant. Is it great to understand the sword's intention? There are no disciples of the blood knife sect who have understood the sword's intention. I will come to you later. I just want to tell you that Qinyan sect can't protect you. After Su finished speaking, Shui retreated with the disciples of the blood knife sect. She couldn't fight now. There were strong inner disciples of the blood sword sect, but they didn't follow. After glancing at Su Xianxia, Qin Chu turned and left. He looked down on Su Xianxia, who was still the deputy sect leader. He was just trash. When Su Shui threatened him, he didn't say a word. It was Luo Zhen who stood up. Qin Chu. Qin Chu. After Qin Chu left, the disciples from the Qinyan sect's 7 peaks, except the main peak, and the other 6 peaks waved their arms and shouted. When the Qinyan sect and its subordinates were slapped in the face, it was Qin Chu who stood up, defended the dignity of the Qinyan sect, and taught the other party a lesson. Returning to the cliff, Qin Chu started practicing again. Fighting with the disciples of the blood knife sect gave him some insights. In addition, he felt that his cultivation level was still too low. When fighting with the disciples of the blood knife sect, he could not see the opponent's cultivation level. Half a year after entering the 3rd level of the True Yuan realm, Qin Chu's cultivation level increased to the 4th level of the True Yuan realm. Normally, this speed is already very fast, but Qin Chu felt that it was not enough. He had killed several disciples of the blood knife sect. He would definitely take this tone. If there really was someone with amazing talent and a disciple at the peak of the 3rd level True Yuan realm, he would still it will bring him a crisis. Qin Chu is practicing peacefully, and the name Qin Chu is passed down in the Qinyan sect. The top leaders of each peak have told their disciples that Qin Chu has mastered the true meaning of swordsmanship. It is the Qinyan sect who has mastered the true meaning of swordsmanship for hundreds of years. The second disciple who understood the true meaning of swordsmanship at the age of less than 20 has a bright future. Lei Yin and several peak masters arrived at Qingzhou Peak. Except for the main peak, several other peak masters arrived. Senior brother Luo, Su Xianxia is too shameless and has no character as a swordsman. Lei Yin looked at Luo Zhen and said. Back then, the sect master nominated and recommended Su Xianxia as deputy sect master. Out of respect for the sect master, we did not object. How could we have thought that Su Xianxia could squeeze out others and give in when foreign enemies were in front of him? Lin, the master of Qinyan Peak, said. He sighed. Let's do our own thing first. If his behavior is inappropriate again, we will unite with other elders and remove him directly. Luo Zhen said. Today, the blood knife sect came to provoke him. Su Xianxia couldn't handle the matter and even ran away. Qingzhou Peak, this made Luo Zhen feel very unhappy. If it doesn't work, let's go to Mr. Mo and Mr. Ling to deal with it. Our Qinyan sect cannot have such a deputy sect leader. Over the years, he has led the main peak and has been fighting among himself. Furthermore, I feel that this matter is not simple. Blood knife sect dare to challenge our Qinyan sect in such a big way. It shows that you don't care about quarreling with us. This is the rhythm of starting a war. Lei Yin said. We must be cautious. I will arrange for some people to go out to investigate later. The Blood Knife Sect, Wolf King Palace, and Qinqing Pavilion are all eyeing our Qinyan sect. We have to be careful. Luo Zhen said. Several peak leaders exchanged views on the current situation of Qinyan sect, and then mentioned Qin Chu. Peak Master Luo, Qin Chu is a rare talent. Now he is jealous of the main peak and has offended the Blood Knife sect. We must pay more attention to safety. We can only carry this for a period. The future belongs to young people. I am very optimistic about it. Qin Chu. Qin Yan Peak Master Lin Yi said. Lei Yin and others also nodded. They could understand the true meaning of swordsmanship before they were 20 years old. This proved that Qin Chu was very talented in swordsmanship. In addition, Qin Chu also possessed the sword spirit realm, which showed that Qin Chu was not lacking in spirituality and understanding. Are all top-notch. I will inform him later that he should not go out on missions recently. Luo Zhen nodded. It was easy to dodge hidden arrows, and he didn't want Qin Chu to be plotted against. The people from the Blood Knife sect left angrily, and Su Shanhe, Zhang Ji, and Qian Qing arrived at the attic where Su Shanhe lived. Those from Blood Knife sect deserved to die, and those from Qinzhou Peak deserved to die even more. Zhang Ji cursed. They could have stood up long ago. They have to wait until our main peak loses face and dies before they go out to fight. It's really a bad intention. Qian Qing said. Su Shanhe kept thinking, and then smiled. Aren't they very capable? Then let them carry it. I estimate that it won't be long before the Blood Knife sect will make a comeback. When they come again, King Xiufeng and that garbage handyman will. That's the main goal. Yes, next time they will target Qinzhou Peak. If Qin Chu, a bastard, hits the Blood Knife sect in the face, the Blood Knife sect will definitely kill him. According to rumors, the Blood Knife sect has 2 disciples who have mastered the sword's will. One of them he also practiced the Blood Sword Ancestors' Blood Sword scripture. Qian Qing's face was full of coldness. He wanted to strangle Qin Chu immediately, but even though he was the disciple of the sect leader, he had no choice. He had no reason to attack Qin Chu. After practicing his vitality all night, Qin Chu took a shower and began to practice swordsmanship. He wanted to perfectly integrate the Jingxian sword art with the basic swordsmanship, and make the Jingxian sword art as smooth as the basic swordsmanship. In the attic behind the library, Lu Yuan reported to Mo Daozi about the provocation from the Blood Knife sect. Uncle Master, the disciple has arranged for people to explore the depths of the Blood Knife sect. Their purpose should be found out. The biggest problem now is the internal disharmony in our Qinyan sect. That apart from the main peak, the other 5 peak masters are here. We met once at Qinzhou Summit, Lu Yuan said. Let's meet when we meet. 2 things. The first thing is to release all the spies you are in charge of and investigate the purpose of the Blood Knife sect. The second thing is to pay close attention to Qin Chu. Mo Daozi said to Lu Yuan. Chapter 0063 The Source of Turmoil. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Lu Yuan nodded to Mo Daozi. He had already arranged these 2 things, but Mo Daozi reminded him again that he would have to be more careful. After leaving Mo Daozi's attic, Lu Yuan arranged for 2 more law enforcement officers to patrol the dark areas outside the Qinzhou Peak Handyman compound. After making arrangements, Lu Yuan's mind began to wander. He still remembered what Qin Chu said when he entered Qinyan sect, that Qinyan sect would be proud of him, and now he has done it. Qin Chu is now a banner among the disciples of the Qinyan sect. He can do things that the inner disciples cannot do. In addition, Lu Yuan knew that the sect would be in turmoil next because Su Shanhe could not get the support of the Qinyan sect. In fact, Lu Yuan also wondered why the sect leader proposed Su Shanhe as deputy sect leader. At that time, the senior officials in the sect felt that a deputy sect leader would arise between him and Luo Zhen. It was the sect leader's decision that changed the original situation. If Luo Zhen was the deputy sect master, Lu Yuan would be convinced, because whether it was ability, prestige, or conduct as a person and work, Luo Zhen was very good, but Su Shanhe was not. Although he was dissatisfied, he never said anything for the sake of the overall situation of the sect. This time the Blood Knife sect came to attack. He saw Su Shanhe's behavior on the outside of the square. This made him disgusted. He still wanted to do it at such a critical moment. In the Qingzhou Peak, there is absolutely no responsibility of the deputy sect leader, except for Su Shanhe. The other 6 peak masters of the Qinyan sect's 7 peaks met privately. Normally, this matter would be very serious, but now Mo Daozi doesn't care about it, which means he doesn't support Su Shanhe. Lu Yuan also understood that it was impossible for Mo Daozi not to know who Su Shanhe was. In the past, he was not outrageous. For the sake of the sect master, he did not say anything, but now it is no longer possible. These are extraordinary times, and it is impossible to remain indifferent. While Mo Daozi was drinking tea and thinking, Ling Yunzi came to Mo Daozi's attic. "Junior brother, there will be a wave of turmoil in Qinyan sect next. I hope the turmoil will not be big." Mo Daozi said. "It mainly depends on what the sect leader decides." Ling Yunzi said. "That's right. The size of the turmoil is still in the hands of the sect leader. Let's see what he says and does. I hope he won't disappoint us." Mo Daozi exhaled, with some worry on his face. If the sect leader still wants to protect Su Shanhe, then the sect will be torn apart, and we may be charged with treason. Ling Yunzi stretched out his hand and rubbed his face. There are some things that no one wants to happen, but if it happens, and there is no need to back down. Don't worry, I already have some plans. I will never be accused of treason. Mo Daozi said. That day, when Qin Chu finished practicing his sword skills and was about to get a glass of water, Lu Yuan came. "Elder Lu, my disciple, thank you for the sword." Qin Chu hugged Lu Yuan, and he was very grateful to Lu Yuan in his heart. "You are a born swordsman. Giving you a long sword is nothing. Now I am here to tell you some news. Among the inner disciples of Blood Knife sect, there are 2 genius disciples. Their names are Luo Xiao and Luo Zhan. Everyone has mastered the sword intention, especially Luo Xiao, who has been in seclusion and has a record of killing 4th-level cultivators in the past, which should not be underestimated." Lu Yuan said to Qin Chu. "Disciple has taken note of these 2 people." Qin Chu nodded. Lu Yuan was silent for a moment. Not only the Blood Knife sect, but also the Wolf King Palace and Qinqing Pavilion are targeting our Qinyan sect this time. Qinqing Pavilion is a bit far away from our Qinyan sect. I don't know the specific situation. The Wolf King Palace also has 2. There are 2 talented disciples, one named Lang Qing and the other named Lang Yu. When you see them, be careful. Is there anyone named Wolf? Qin Chu was surprised. This is inherited. How should I put it? Some people say that the founder of the Wolf King Palace was a demon wolf in the form of a demon wolf. Some people say that the founder of the Wolf King Palace admired the wolf surname, so he changed his surname to Wolf. The details cannot be verified. Lu Yuan said to Qin Chu. After drinking a glass of water, Lu Yuan left. He was worried that Qin Chu didn't understand the enemy's situation, so he came to say hello in advance. After sending Lu Yuan away, Qin Chu continued to practice swordsmanship. Qin Chu felt that the strength of his opponent was not the key. The key was whether he was strong enough. If he was not strong enough, he would not be able to defeat his opponent. If he was strong enough, no matter what the opponent fought, kill him directly. It was stable for a while, and at the beginning of the month, Qin Chu came to the Hall of Merit. Law Enforcement Han nodded to a disciple on duty. He did not let Qin Chu take over the task and chatted with Qin Chu casually. Not long after, Luo Zhan appeared and called Qin Chu out of the Hall of Merit. "I told the Hall of Merit not to assign tasks to you in the recent period. The main reason is that you cannot go out alone." After leaving the Hall of Merit for a while, Luo Zhan said to Qin Chu. "Is the Peak Master worried that his disciples might be ambushed?" After hearing Luo Zhan's words, Qin Chu understood what Luo Zhan meant. Luo Zhan shook his head. "It's not possible, we will definitely be ambushed. There are people from the other party lurking in our Qinyan sect, so the other party knows every move you make. If you leave the Qinyan sect area, the other party will definitely take action against you. It's not necessarily the other party. There are many people who want you to die. If you need any resources, I will exchange them for you. Disciple, I understand. I won't go out recently. The purpose of doing missions is to practice actual combat. Xianxia nodded. He was doing mission points just by the way. He was not very eager for points. After hugging Luo Zhen, Xianxia returned to the handyman compound. Peak Master Luo, I originally thought that this guy would be difficult to persuade, but I didn't expect that he is very sensible. Lu Yuan appeared next to Luo Zhen. This little guy is confused sometimes, but he understands some things. At least he knows who is good to him. I heard that you sent him to the handyman hall. Luo Zhen looked at Lu Yuan nodded. I have to admire the luck of Qingzhou Peak. Xianxia missed the sex disciple recruitment ceremony. I happened to meet him that day. After hearing what he said, I felt that I should give him a chance, so I brought him here. The main peak's handyman hall and the 7 peaks all need handyman disciples, but he was sent to Qingzhou Peak. Ha! So, I owe you a favor and I will treat you to a drink in Qingyun Town another day. Luo Zhen said with a smile. Lu Yuan nodded, we have to wait. People from the Blood Knife sect and Wolf King Palace have all arrived in the outer area of Qingyun sect. I am afraid that the comers are not malicious. I don't know if they should provoke us first or fight directly. This time they will attack our Qingyun sect. It's a crisis. If there is anything needed, please send someone to notify him. Luo Zhen said to Lu Yuan. After Xianxia returned to the cliff, he began to practice. He didn't pay much attention to the Blood Knife Gate and the Wolf King Palace. What he cared about was the improvement of his strength. By improving his strength, he could find his own life experience. He didn't care about the outside world. He was yearning for it, thinking of the outside world, and he couldn't help but think of Xianxia. Chapter 0064 That is Dignity. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. After talking to Shuyu several times, Xianxia knew that Xianxia was a person with stories and an aura of self-improvement. After closing his eyes and being quiet for a while, Xianxia waved the Qinling sword and began to practice swordsmanship again, which was a combination of shocking sword techniques and basic swordsmanship. Luo Zhen watched in the dark. He felt that Xianxia was very good. His basic swordsmanship was at the level of the great perfection, and his Jingxian sword art was also very promising. But even so, he continued to practice hard. Some truths are not understood by new cultivators, but Luo Zhen understands that in the world of cultivators, a cultivator who knows 10,000 unique skills is not scary. What is scary is that a person who has practiced a unique skill 10,000 times is not as good as anyone else. Xianxia belongs to the latter group. As Xianxia practiced hard, the Jingxian sword technique and the basic sword techniques gradually merged, and it was no longer possible to tell which move was the basic sword move and which one was the Jingxian sword technique. In the evening, Pang brought food to Xianxia, 4 dishes, including meat and vegetables, and a small jar of wine. This is a treatment that even the inner disciples cannot achieve. The waiters in the kitchen knew about Xianxia's situation and admired Xianxia in their hearts, so they specially prepared meals for Xianxia every day. Of course, the meals for other handymen in the handyman compound were also changed. The status of the handyman disciples has changed in Qingzhou Peak, because there are several good talents in the handyman compound. In addition to Xianxia, there are also several disciples such as Bai Yu and Lin Zheng, all of whom are very good. Fatty, have you eaten? Xianxia looked at Fatty and asked. Boss, you don't have to worry about me, Lin Zheng and I will eat together. Pang said. Where's Bai Yu? Xianxia asked. He's in seclusion. He started to go into seclusion yesterday. Pang said. Second Fatty, your cultivation level this year is not that good. You are not qualified to become an outer disciple. Now you have entered the condensing yuan realm. You should be promoted next year. You can't just be a handyman disciple all the time. Looking at someone who has already reached the condensing yuan realm. Fatty, Qin Chu said. The Erpang shook his head. The handyman hall is very good. I don't consider promotion, and I won't consider it in the future. I need pills and resources. I just work hard to complete the tasks and earn points in exchange. Qin Chu didn't know how to persuade him. He didn't care, but other people were different. It was better to be promoted or promoted. After all, the treatment was different. Boss, you are very good. You won't be able to stay in the courtyard for long, and the same goes for Bai Yu and Lin Zheng. If we all leave, the courtyard will go back to the past and become devoid of dignity and status, so I am here in Qingyun. Everyday Zone will stay in the servant hall to ensure that the servant hall does not change and that the brand you created does not fall. Pang said the reason why he was not promoted. Qin Chu sighed and said nothing more. He had no idea how much the handyman disciples cared about the reputation he had earned. This reputation represented dignity, or even belief, and no one wanted to lose it. After Pang left, and after dinner, Qin Chu sat cross-legged and meditated to cultivate his vitality. On the main peak, Su Shanhe communicates with Zhang Ji and Qian Qing. This time the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace are coming with force and are causing trouble. Zhang Ji said. Don't worry yet. When the other party comes to challenge, they also go to Qinzhou Peak first. Qin Chu was the one who caused the matter, so Luozhen will take care of it. Third Elder, pay more attention to the movement. Su Shanhe said after taking a sip of tea. Zhang Ji hugged Su Shanhe and went down. Deputy Sect Master, our Qingyun sect may not be able to handle it this time. Qian Qing said. The Blood Knife sect, Wolf King Palace and Qinqing Pavilion are approaching fiercely. This is a trouble. If it doesn't work, we have to ask the sect master to come out. Su Shanhe said. There are some things that Qian Qing wants to tell the deputy sect master. The deputy sect master now has two choices. Qian Qing looked at Su Shanhe and said. Well, tell me. Su Shanhe looked at Qian Qing. He had some vague feelings in his heart, but he had to wait for Qian Qing to speak clearly. It should be said that it is the choice of both of us. There are two possibilities next. One is that Qingyun sect defeats the Blood Knife sect, Wolf King Palace and Qinqing Pavilion. In this way, this prince can take advantage of the power of Qingyun sect and rise to the top of the Qian dynasty. Next, the prince's contribution can support the deputy sect master's rise to power. Another possibility is that the Qingyun sect is destroyed, which is also a great achievement for this prince. After all, the existence of the sect's power is something that my father does not like. If the Qingyun sect is destroyed, the deputy sect master, if you assist this prince, there is no problem in being promoted to an official position, and you can live a prosperous life. Qian Qing said while looking at Su Shanhe. Su Shanhe was silent. He naturally understood some things. The Qian dynasty was very disgusted with several major sects in the territory and had always wanted to remove them. However, they just had no chance and lacked some strength. If under the control of him and Qian Qing, the Qingyun sect was destroyed. A great achievement indeed. We don't know the attitude of the sect leader. There are still two old guys. If they interfere in the middle, things will be difficult to handle. Su Shanhe said. He was very satisfied with the two choices Qian Qing came up with. The main reason is the attitude of the sect master. Although the two old guys are supreme elders, they cannot ignore the sect master's orders. Do they want to bear the reputation of being rebellious? They won't. Qian Qing said. Su Shanhe was silent for a while. When the sect leader comes out of seclusion, I will have some exchanges with the sect leader. Qian Qing nodded. Su Shanhe relented and had an intention. The rest would depend on the attitude of the sect leader. Whether Qingyun sect defeated its opponent or Qingyun sect failed, it was in his interest. Before he came to Qingyun sect, his father's intention was to let him solve the hidden dangers. Whether Qingyun sect was destroyed or Su Shanhe took charge of Qingyun sect in the future, he would not care. Is the biggest beneficiary, that day, Qin Chu took a medicinal bath and planned to practice his sword skills. Lu Shui came and brought a teapot and some daily necessities. The same goes for you. If you don't get promoted to an inner disciple, you will live a hard life here, and you don't know how to go to town to buy some things for yourself. Lu Shui said while helping Qin Chu clean up the wooden house. I don't care much about these things. It's good to be alone quietly. The inner disciples can't do anything more than that. Qin Chu said with a smile. In the past, he and the old man lived a hard life in the mountains, so they have been habit. Lu Shui replaced Qin Chu's bedding with new ones, and put a new tea set on Qin Chu's face. Then he took out 2 sets of white robes and placed them on the wooden chair. Senior sister, this is inappropriate. I am a handyman disciple and cannot wear gorgeous robes. Although the coarse cloth robes are a bit inferior, I am used to it. Qin Chu said after looking at the robes he was wearing. Lu Shui didn't say anything else. She felt that the old saying that a man relies on his clothes and a horse relies on his saddle did not apply to Qin Chu. Although Qin Chu was wearing a coarse robe, it was very clean and could not hide his momentum and aura at all. Qin Chu poured a cup of tea for Lu Shui. Thank you, senior sister, for coming to see me. You saved me twice. I don't know how to thank you. I forgot to tell you that I entered the 4th level and am now a core disciple. However, I think most of the core disciples are with Qianqing. Lu Shui said. That's a bitch, don't give me a chance, kill him if you give me a chance. Qin Chu's eyes showed murderous intent, because many things were done by Qianqing. Chapter 0065 Sword Intent and Sword Intent. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Junior brother Qin, don't provoke Qianqing. Not to mention that he is very strong, and there are complicated relationships behind him. The deputy sect master Su Shanhe and the sect master will protect him. Besides, there is the Qian dynasty behind him, and the Qian dynasty is very powerful. It can be said that more than any other sect, they tolerate the existence of several major sects and have not taken action because they are worried that several major sects will unite to shake their imperial power. Lu Shui said to Qin Chu. Qin Chu frowned, because he has a good background, no one can touch him. I'm not afraid. If the Qian dynasty retaliates, I will avoid them for a while, and then deal with them when I have the strength. It's not that we can't touch him. When we have the strength and surpass him, we will quietly chop him down. The Qian dynasty wants to take revenge, but no one can be found. Lu Shui said. After listening to Lu Shui's words, Qin Chu smiled and said, I didn't expect senior sister Lu to have many ideas. This is not because I am worried that you will act recklessly. I really want him to die. You have no idea how miserable my 3 junior sisters are. Lu Nan and others are the ones who are responsible for the Qin dynasty. Lu Shui originally had a smile on his face. But when it comes to Lu Nan, murderous intent appears on his face. Sorry. Qin Chu sighed. He knew that the misfortune of several female disciples at Qianluo Peak had something to do with him. Lu Nan and others compromised their cultivation and entered the Qinhuang ancient ruins. In the final analysis, it was because they wanted to deal with him. You don't need to be sorry. If you deal with those people, they will be like me. Thank you very much. You can practice. Lu Shui got up and left. She felt uncomfortable when she mentioned several junior sisters. She didn't want her emotions to affect her. To the early Qin dynasty, watching Lu Shui leave, Qin Chu felt a little helpless in his heart. How could he not feel that Lu Shui was in a low mood? He felt that human life was very fragile. People who were so alive and chaotic a while ago were gone as soon as they said they were gone. After thinking for a while, Qin Chu began to meditate and cultivate his vitality. He did not want to become a stepping stone for others to rise in this powerful world. After practicing for another half-month, Qin Chu's cultivation level improved by 1 level, reaching the 5th level of the True Yuan realm. This level of strength is considered to be at the middle level among the inner sect. When Qin Chu was practicing swordsmanship that day, Bai Yu came to call Qin Chu. The situation is not good. The Blood Knife sect has come to cause trouble again. Their troops came directly to Qingzhou Peak and have already arrived at the main square of Qingzhou Peak. In addition, the Wolf King, the troops from the palace also appeared, following the Blood Knife sect. Qin Chu exhaled and said, "The trees are calm but the wind is not stopping. This time they are targeting Qingzhou Peak." After adjusting his robes, Qin Chu, Bai Yu, Lin Zheng, Er Pang and others came to the square in front of the Qingzhou Peak Hall. At this time, there were already many people in the Kingshufeng Square. On the front of the Kingshufeng Hall was the Kingshufeng led by Luo Zhen. On the side were people from Qingyan Peak and Qianluo Peak. Lin Yi, Lei Yin and others were all here. Qin Chu led the people from the handyman compound to the area on the side of the Qingzhou Peak camp. Normally, how could the handyman disciples be qualified to participate in such a major event? If they had been blown away before, but not this time, the Qingzhou Peak affiliated gave up an area to Qin Chu and others. Garbage handyman. Su Shui looked at Qin Chu. She saw Qin Chu when he appeared. Who is rubbish? If he is rubbish, then how did your elite disciple die? Is he even worse than rubbish? Xianxia, an inner disciple of Qingzhou Peak, shouted. He recognized Qin Chu, and the Blood Knife sect insulted Qin Chu. He naturally not. Shut up, do you have the right to speak? Do you have the courage to come out and fight? Su Shui was very dissatisfied when Xianxia took the conversation away. When Xianxia was about to fight, Qin Chu blocked Xianxia with his arm. They are here to find me, and I will solve them. Some matters that the handyman disciples can solve do not require the help of the outer and inner disciples. After saying this, Qin Chu walked to the front of the Qingzhou Peak camp and looked at Su Shui and others. They were coming to attack him, so naturally he would not avoid fighting. Did you kill my disciple of the Blood Sword sect? A young man wearing a blood-colored robe walked out from behind Su Shui. What's wrong with my killing? You can only kill people from the Blood Knife sect, but you can't kill people from the Qingyan sect. You are an egg. Qin Chu looked at the man in front of him with dissatisfaction in his eyes, because the other man was too arrogant. Aha. The man in a bloody robe drew his sword. I don't know where you got the arrogance, tell me your name. Seeing the other party directly showing off his weapon, Qin Chu laughed out of anger. The other party's sense of superiority was so strong that he followed him to his home when he arrived at Qingyan sect. Same, very arrogant. Not only Qin Chu was angry, but many disciples of the Qingyan sect were also angry because the Blood Knife sect was too arrogant and did not take the Qingyan sect's subordinate seriously. Remember, my name is Luo Zhan. Luo Zhan swung the sword in his hand and started to kill Qin Chu. The purpose of him and Su Shui coming to Qingyan sect was to kill people. Qin Chu raised his right hand behind him, holding the Qingling sword in his hand, and thrust out towards Luo Zhan's sword. After the sword light and the sword collided, Qin Chu's Qingling sword stabbed Luo Zhan's sword for the second time. After a crisp sound, Qin Chu took 2 steps back, and Luo Zhan also took a few steps back. He was at the 9th level of the True Yuan realm, 4 levels higher than Qin Chu, but Qin Chu was too powerful to make up the difference. He said that he still had an advantage and could repel him directly. After taking a few steps back, there was anger and confusion in Luo Zhan's eyes. The anger was because he was repelled, the confusion was because he didn't understand where Qin Chu got such power. Humans are the spirit of all things, with high spirituality and understanding, but their bodies are much weaker than monsters. Luo Zhan was knocked back by Qin Chu's sword, and it felt like he was hit by a monster with a sword. After repelling Luo Zhan, Qin Chu rushed forward and swung his Qingling sword towards Luo Zhan to kill him. Luo Zhan swung his sword to attack. Qin Chu's strength was great, but his vitality was deep and he had the advantage of vitality. The battle started in the square in front of the Qingzhou Peak Hall, and at this time Su Shanhe and Zhang Jizai arrived belatedly with the troops from the main peak. Bai Yu looked at Xianxia, senior brother Zhang. If the Blood Knife sect said that it entered our Qingyan sect, then it means entering the Qingyan sect. In fact, this is not just Bai Yu's confusion. Many disciples of Qingyan sect don't understand. Did the blood knife sect enter Qingyun sect so casually? There are also those men and horses from the Wolf King Palace wearing wolf totem costumes. They came to Qingyun sect to engage in a battle with their disciples, not to attack the mountain gate, so we must either admit defeat or accept the fight. If we don't accept the battle, it means we are afraid, and no one will come to the Qingyun sect's disciple recruitment hall in the future. Participate. Elder Song, who manages Qingzhou Peak's resources, said, at this time, the battle in the square became fierce. Luo Zhan used his sword intention, which combined with his sword skills, and his attacks were extremely sharp. Qin Chu also used his sword intention and sword skills, and fought with Luo Zhan. Chapter 0066 Don't be too presumptuous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fierce fighting. Luo Zhan's sword skills are very sharp with the blessing of sword intention, but Qin Chu's Jingshenzhian Ju is also very powerful with the blessing and assistance of sword intention, and does not fall behind at all. The battle was evenly matched, but Qin Chu discovered his weakness, which was that his speed was not enough, not the speed of his sword skills, but the speed of his body movement. The main reason was that he had not practiced any secret skills, and Luo Zhan's body was very fast in the blink of an eye. There are rules and regulations. After discovering his own shortcomings, Qin Chu was not going to use it up anymore. If he continued to use it up, his energy would be inferior to that of Luo Zhan, and he would suffer the loss. With the decision made, Qin Chu was blessed by the sword spirit realm. After discovering the flaw in Luo Zhan's sword technique, he changed his sword technique and used the unique move of Jingshan Sword Ju, Jingshan Transformation. Qin Chu, who had used the Jingshan Transformation, brushed past Luo Zhan's sword and approached Luo Zhan. The Qingling sword came to Luo Zhan with its sword light. Luo Zhan wanted to dodge, but his sword skills were old and it was too late to change his moves or dodge. As the sound of weapons and flesh contact came out, Qin Chu's Qingling sword pierced Luo Zhan's chest. His body was severely injured. Luo Zhan swung the sword in his hand and slashed towards Qin Chu's neck, but before the sword reached Qin Chu's neck, his arm had no strength. Because his life force passed too quickly, Qin Chu grabbed Luo Zhan's right wrist with his left hand and folded it hard. With a click, Luo Zhan's wrist was broken by Qin Chu and the sword fell to the ground. This is the Qingyun sect. Don't be too presumptuous. The price of being too presumptuous is your life. After saying this, Qin Chu put away the Qingling sword, and then took the storage bracelet and the dropped sword from the lifeless Luo Zhan. Received, the whole place was silent. Luo Zhan was one of the genius disciples of the blood knife sect. He was very famous in this area, but he was killed by an unknown Qingyun sect servant. After taking a few steps back, Qin Chu looked at Su Shui. I just want to ask you, where do you get your sense of superiority and what qualifications do you have to show off your power in this Qingyun sect? I, Qin Chu, am standing here. If you want to fight, I'm always here for you. That he was extremely domineering. Although there were people from the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace looking at him with eager eyes, Qin Chu didn't have any stage fright. Arrogant. After listening to Qin Chu's words, a man walked out of the Wolf King Palace camp. The man's robe was embroidered with a wolf totem, and his red and phoenix eyes had a fierce light. There are really those who don't know how to live or die. Tell me your name. Qin Chu looked at the man from the Wolf King Hall who came out. Wolf King Palace Lang Jade. The man with fierce eyes looked at Qin Chu and said. Luo Zhan is one of the geniuses of the Blood Knife sect. You seem to be also a genius of the Wolf King Palace. I, Qin Chu, am not a genius, but I seem to have the ability to kill geniuses. After finishing speaking, Qin Chu, Qingyun sword he took out his sheath and killed towards Lang Yu. It's not that Qin Chu is belligerent, it's that he understands the situation clearly. Unless he gives in, the other party will not let him go. In this case, he can only play hard. Seeing Qin Chu take action, Lang Yu took action. He did not use a sword or a long sword, but a pair of claw sheaths with a faint light. The back of the claw sheaths was spiked and the tip was a sharp blade. Qin Chu's sword skills were fast, but Lang Yu's claws were also very fast, directly blocking the attack path of Qin Chu's long sword. I will crush your head. Qin Chu took the initiative, which made Lang Yu very unhappy. In the past, he had always been the one to hit and kill others, and there were almost no people who took the initiative with him. Qin Chu said nothing, and the Jingxian sword technique unfolded, attacking around Lang Yu. Lang Yu waved his arms, and a pair of sharp claws with a faint light clawed at Qin Chu's body. No one doubts the power of Lang Yu's claws. Once caught by it, the body will be pierced and the bones will be broken. Qin Chu's swordsmanship is extremely fast. It is a combination of Jingxian sword technique and basic swordsmanship. One sword is connected with the other, and the sword power is natural. Although it is a simple sword move, there is no flaw. Lu Shui, have you seen it? This is the power of basic swordsmanship after practicing it to perfection. Basic swordsmanship emphasizes the foundation. Lei Yin said to Lu Shui beside him. After fighting for a while, Qin Chu realized more and more that his speed was not enough, which made him uncomfortable. Every dodge and move of Lang Yu made his originally threatening swordsmanship unable to hurt the opponent. Not only Qin Chu knew about this situation, but the senior officials of Qin sect also discovered it. This situation showed that Qin Chu had not accumulated enough in the past. His swordsmanship was promising, but his energy and body skills were far behind him. However, Lang Yu thought it is impossible to defeat Qin Chu, because although Qin Chu's sword skills cannot hurt Lang Yu, there is no problem in using them for defense. With his mind spinning, Qin Chu used the sword spirit realm, seizing the flaw after Lang Yu's attack failed, and used the shocking transformation of the Jingxian sword art again. This time he did not hit Lang Yu's chest, but cut Lang Yu's right hand. Cut off the arm at the root. After breaking Lang Yu's right arm, Qin Chu stepped hard, quickly approached the retreating Lang Yu, and the Qingling sword struck out again. At this time, an old man headed by Wolf King Palace took action and punched Qin Chu. Shameless! With a low cry, Luozhen took action, unsheathing his long sword, and a sword energy flew out, knocking away the old man's fist from the Wolf King Hall. During this gap, Qin Chu approached Lang Yu. He swung the Qingling sword and chopped off Lang Yu's left arm. Then he kicked Lang Yu to the ground with a volley kick. The long sword was pressed against Lang Yu's throat. What's wrong with you? When you said you were going to crush my head, I made the decision to chop off a pair of your claws and then kill you. After finishing speaking, Qin Chu's right arm shook, and the Qingling sword penetrated Lang Yu's throat, completing the kill. Qin Chu collected the spoils of war, and the audience was completely silent, because Qin Chu was too cruel and directly killed two talented disciples from the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace. Qinyan sect, you hand him over, and our Wolf King Palace retreats, otherwise we, the Wolf King Palace, and the Qinyan sect will fight to the death. The old man who headed the Wolf King Palace said, Lang Yu is the descendant of the master of the Wolf King Palace, and was captured by the Qinyan sect. Kill, the matter is already serious. Hand him over, otherwise our Blood Knife sect will officially declare war on the Qinyan sect. Su Shui also spoke. Not to mention the big situation that followed, she wanted to kill the talented disciples of the Qinyan sect first. Luozhen smiled. He had already taken a hostile stance. The other party actually asked Qinyan sect to hand Qin Chu over. This was ridiculous. Doesn't that mean he was destroying his foundation? At this time, Su Shanhe stood up and said, Peak Master Luo, from my point of view, it is better to minimize the big issue. Fighting will not be beneficial to anyone. What did you say? Luozhen glared at Su Shanhe. He did not expect that Su Shanhe would say such words at this time. Old immortal, do you mean to hand over me, a disciple who has just fought for Qinyan sect and saved face for Qinyan sect? Qin Chu was also angry. People can be shameless, but they cannot be as shameless as Su Shanhe. Chapter 0067 Sword Intent Rising. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How dare you? Why are you talking to the elders of the sect? Su Shanhe glared at Qin Chu. The sword is fearless. A swordsman must be fearless. You are not worthy of becoming a true sword cultivator. Looking at Su Shanhe, Qin Chu shook his head. Su Shanhe sneered, as the deputy sect master of Qinyan sect, I naturally have to consider the interests of the entire Qinyan sect. If you cause trouble, you will naturally be responsible for it. Looking at the Qinling sword in his hand, Qin Chu exhaled. He knew that he had been abandoned by the Qinyan sect and became a victim, alone. Qin Chu's figure was very lonely, but there was an arrogance in his loneliness, an arrogance that would rather break than bend. Suddenly, the aura on Qin Chu's body changed and became harsh. That's okay. Qinyan sect doesn't need me. I, Qin Chu, just quit the Qinyan sect. I, Qin Chu, am standing here. Whoever wants to kill me, just come. Come on. I, Qin Chu, hope to awaken the dignity that belongs to the sword cultivator. Qin Chu, it was he who gave up on you, and even the main peak gave up on you, but not me, Qingzhou Peak, and I, Luo Zhen, can't do it. I, Qingzhou Peak, have the character of a swordsman. The sword can be broken, but it will never bend. Luo Zhen stood beside Qin Chu. Sword Wu Wei is a fearless heart, and after fearlessness comes fearless courage. Compromise is not what a swordsman should do. A swordsman should move forward bravely. Lu Yuan stood beside Luo Zhen. At this time, Qin Chu's sword spirit continued to rise, and the long swords around the Qinyan sect's waist were trembling. Qin Chu, have the courage to be fearless. After Qin Chu finished speaking, his sword intention rose again. At the critical moment, the level of Qin Chu's sword intention increased. Okay. Lu Yuan's eyes lit up. Elder Lu, thank you for letting me stay in Qinyan sect. But in this situation, I may let you down. It's not that Qin Chu wants to break his promise, it's that the situation is not as good as others, but I will not insult the swordsman's dignity. Qin Lu Yuan said at first glance. Lu Yuan moved his feet and got closer to Qin Chu. I have never been disappointed with you. If you want to fight, then fight. I will not give up on you. The law enforcement hall is under preparation for war. Following Lu Yuan's words, many figures in black robes appeared around Qingzhou Peak Square. They were not people from Qifeng, but people from the law enforcement hall, and Lu Yuan was the chief elder of the law enforcement hall. Lu Yuan, are you disobeying me? Su Shanhe's expression changed. Disobedience is not enough. The law enforcement elders order that I execute. Your order is invalid here. Lu Yuan took out a token, which was the law enforcement elders' token. In the Qinyan sect, the law enforcement elders are in charge of the law enforcement hall, which has similar rights to the deputy sect leader. The deputy sect leader is in charge of all aspects, but cannot control the law enforcement hall. I will ask the sect master to depose you, the law enforcement elder who has no regard for the overall interests of the sect. Su Shanhe roared angrily. Luo Zhen slapped him in the face. Now Lu Yuan did not give him any face, which made him extremely angry. Then you ask the sect master to destroy this peak master as well. Lei Yin took a few steps. Although he was about to face a big impact, Lei Yin still stood up. Then came Ge, and another peak master. Just wait. Su Shanhe took Zhang Ji and others away. He could no longer control the situation. Beat any outsider who remains in the Qinyan sect during a cup of tea. Lu Yuan looked at Su Shui and the others. He was now full of murderous intent. I'll give you 7 days. If you don't hand over Qin Chu after 7 days, you will be responsible for the consequences. Su Shui turned and left. She could bring the disciples from the Blood Blade sect to the house for a fight, but she couldn't afford to fight against the Qinyan sect. The old man from the Wolf King Palace looked at Lu Yuan. I must give an explanation to the palace master, so I, Qin Chu, must do it, otherwise the Wolf King Palace will remove you from the Qinyan sect no matter what the price. After dropping the harsh words, the men and horses of Wolf King Palace retreated. Qin Chu hugged Lu Yuan and others, then left the main hall square of Qingzhou Peak, and then went to the library pavilion. It took Qin Chu a quarter of an hour to select a secret book of his own magic. Spirit Shadow Step. In exchange for the Spiritual Shadow Step, Qin Chu's 60,000 points were consumed. He didn't know what would happen next, so he had to exchange the points for the tomes he needed first. After changing the books, Qin Chu returned to the handyman compound. In the handyman compound, many people were waiting for Qin Chu. Bai Yu, Lin Zheng, Xianxia, Han Yu, Qiu Zhan and Lu Shui were all there. You are all here. Qin Chu greeted with a smile. Don't be sad, I, Bai Yu, will always stand by your side. Bai Yu said looking at Qin Chu. Junior brother Qin, the Peak Master said that Qingzhou Peak will not give up on you. Zheng Qiu said. They were worried that Qin Chu would not be able to withstand the pressure. Lu Shui came to Qin Chu and said, our Peak Master means the same thing. Qian Luo Peak will definitely support Peak Master Luo. Thank you everyone, you don't have to worry about my affairs, I will take care of it. Qin Chu hugged a few people, then returned to the edge of the cliff, then drew out the Qingling sword and began to practice swordsmanship. After being stimulated by Su Shanhe just now and hearing Lu Yuan's words, Qin Chu's heart was touched, and he felt that his sword intention had changed. With sword intention empowering his sword skills, Qin Chu used the Jingxian sword technique, looking for the difference. With the use of swordsmanship, Qin Chu felt that the power of his swordsmanship had increased a lot. To be precise, his swordsmanship had improved and was not at the same level as before. Can sword intent be improved? Qin Chu put away the long sword, feeling a lot of confusion in his heart, unable to figure it out. Qin Chu didn't think about it, took out the Lingyingbu classics and started practicing. In the main hall of Qingzhou Peak, Luo Zhen, Lu Yuan, Lei Yin, Lin Yi, and another Peak Master Anan were discussing matters. Su Shanhe is not worthy of being the deputy sect leader, he has no backbone. Lei Yin said, what happened today made her very angry. It doesn't matter if Su Shanhe is alone. Elder Lu can ignore him, but the key is that he will report to the sect master. We don't know what decision the sect master will make. What if the sect master wants to hand Qin Chu over? It would be treason for us to disobey orders. He said, last time, except for Su Shanhe, the peak master of the main peak, 6 peak masters of Qingyun sect communicated, but this time there were only 4 peak masters. The other 2 were because of their scruples about the sect master, or to be precise, they were unwilling to confront the Zhongsong sect code. No matter what, I, Qingzhou Peak, will not give in, even if I, Luo Zhen, are expelled from Qingyun sect. Luo Zhen said. I will also insist that if Qin Chu is handed over, is Qingyun sect still worthy of becoming a swordsmanship sect? Furthermore, after Qin Chu understood the true meaning of swordsmanship, his swordsmanship broke through again in a short period of time and achieved the second-level swordsmanship. It is worthy we pay. Lu Yuan also expressed his stance. Lei Yin, Lin Yi and Anan also meant the same. They had no choice but to become weaklings. After a few people communicated, Lei Yin came to the cliff and told Qin Chu about Luo Zhen, Lu Yuan, her and the other 2 peak masters, so that Qin Chu could practice safely. After Lei Yin left, Qin Chu became confused. Because of him, Luo Zhen, Lu Yuan and others would be in trouble and would probably be sanctioned by the sect leader. How could he achieve stability? Chapter 0068 Changes in the Grave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After thinking for a while, Qin Chu felt that he should leave. Although he hated Su Shanhe and others, he could not drag Luo Zhen and others into the water. Besides, leaving would not affect anything. He had his skills with him, and slowly just practice. After making a decision, Qin Chu left the cliff, exchanged his points for a large number of Lingyuan pills, and used up all the points. As for the third-level True Yuan pills, he did not change them. During this period, he defeated many opponents. Some True Essence pills were harvested from the loot. After returning to the cliff again, Qin Chu wrapped Qin Wangling and Lingyingbu's classics in cloth and placed them on the table, and then wrote 2 letters and left them. Taking a deep breath, Qin Chu left Qingzhou Peak. He did not leave through the main entrance of Qingyun sect, but went to the outskirts of Miyun Mountain. He left from the Miyun Mountain area. He was worried that the Qingyun sect's Mountain Gate area would have the Blood Knife Gate and Wolf King Hall. The men and horses stared. At this time, in the attic behind the library, Lu Yuan and Mo Daozi talked about today's events. This weakling. How can he hand over the disciples of the sect? He also wants to ask the sect leader to punish Luo Zhen. Damn it, let's go to Qingzhou Peak. Mo Daozi stood up. When Mo Daozi and Lu Yuan arrived at the Qingzhou Peak handyman compound and the cliff, they no longer saw Qin Chu's figure, but only saw the package and 2 letters left by Qin Chu. After reading the letter, Mo Daozi's expression changed. Damn Su Shanhe, he is forcing away a good young man from our Qingyun sect, send someone to find him. Lu Yuan also saw clearly the letters left by Qin Chu. There were 2 letters. One was an apology letter for Mo Daozi, and the other was for the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace. The letter said that Qin Chu he no longer has anything to do with the Qingyun sect. If you have anything to do with him, Qin Chu, Qin Chu, will go to war with the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace. Lu Yuan felt a little sad. He knew why Qin Chu did this. He didn't want Luo Zhen to make things difficult for him, and he didn't want to make Qingyun sect go crazy. Lu Yuan waved his hand and called the people from the law enforcement hall to find Qin Chu. He and Mo Daozi stared blankly at the wooden house. Qin Chu has the pride of a swordsman. He does things and doesn't do things. He is the hope of Qingyun sect when he grows up. I have been worried that something will go wrong, but something still happened. Go and notify Luo Zhen. Mo Daozi hurriedly said. Baiyu shouted as he came over. Not long after, Luo Zhen came and was surprised to see Mo Daozi there. Qin Chu left. In order to prevent you and Lu Yuan from being in trouble, he took the initiative to leave the Qingyun sect. We must find him back and never give up. Mo Daozi gave the letter to Luo Zhen. Damn Su Shanhe. After reading the letter, Luo Zhen was filled with guilt and anger. The guilt was because Qin Chu had been fighting for Qingyun sect and Qingzhou Peak, but he still failed to save Qin Chu and let Qin Chu. I left disappointed, angry because all this happened because of Su Shanhe. Lu Yuan, King Qin ordered you to see that he was found by Qin Chu. Because he belongs to Qingzhou Peak, he hopes that I will support Luo Zhen. I can only do this. If there is a huge change in the sect next, Luo Zhen, you hold the Qinhuang order and fight, the Qingyun sect will never compromise. Mo Daozi said. Uncle, don't worry. Luo Feng is in charge, and the disciples approve it. Lu Yuan said. Then let's see how much waves Su Shanhe can stir up, and see how the sect leader makes a decision. Mo Daozi sighed. Although he had made preparations, he still didn't want something to happen. Qin Chu followed the periphery of Miyan Mountain and left the Qingyun sect area, and then rushed towards the mountainous area where he once lived. It had been more than a year and a half since he left the place where he lived with the old man. He planned to go back and see if the old man had come back. After traveling for several days, Qin Chu returned to the place where he had lived since childhood. Looking at the dilapidated wooden house, Qin Chu felt a sense of desolation. A year and a half later, from the time when he went out in high spirits to now when he came back in a state of embarrassment, everything was changing. After cutting down some trees, Qin Chu repaired the wooden house and then came to his tomb. When he arrived at the location of the tomb, Qin Chu was shocked because the tomb had been filled with soil and the weeds around it had been cleaned up. It was obvious that the cleaning was done very carefully. Qin Chu knew that it was not the old man. The old man had lived with him for more than 10 years and had never taken care of his tomb, so it was impossible to repair and fill it. After all, he knew that there was no one inside. In this case, the only person who came to repair his tomb was one kind of person: is his relatives. Relatives are still there. Coming to this conclusion, Qin Chu was very excited. The one who buried him must be his closest relative who knew where his grave was. Reaching out to touch the tombstone, Qin Chu's hands shook a little, because he saw hope that as long as his relatives were there, he could find them. After cleaning up the debris around the tomb again, Qin Chu lived in the wooden house and practiced sword skills, body skills and vitality every day. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye, and Qin Chu started to practice Lingying step. He felt that it would not be a problem if he continued like this. His family thought he was dead and only came here once in a while. He had not come here in the past 15 years. What if I wait another 10 or 8 years for another visit? Furthermore, he can't stay here forever. He wants to know what's going on with Qinyan sect. Zhu Feng and Su Shanhe are sorry for him, but Qin Zhu Peak is very good to him, and Lu Yuan and Lei Yin are also very good to him. If necessary, he is still willing to take action. When he was about to leave, Qin Chu came to the tomb. After thinking for a while, he made a small tombstone, unsheathed his sword, and carved the words on it, "I am still alive, my name is Qin Chu." Qin Chu felt that if someone came again, they would see what he had left behind and would not be sad anymore. After leaving the mountainous area, Qin Chu arrived at the city and asked about the recent situation. In fact, not long after Qin Chu left, something big happened to the Qinyan sect, and Zhong Han, the leader of the Qinyan sect, left. Seclusion. The first thing Zhong Han did after he came out of seclusion was to expel Qin Chu, a handyman disciple of Qin Zhu Peak, from Qinyan sect. At this time Luo Zhen made a shocking decision, announcing that Qin Chu would always be a disciple of Qin Zhu Peak, and no one could change this. In a head-on confrontation, Luo Zhen didn't give Zhong Han face, which can also be said to be against the sect's code. Zhong Han took several elders of the Qinyan sect to Qin Zhu Peak. Luo Zhen violently disobeyed his orders. This was treason. He must implement the sect rules and rectify the code. Luo Zhen, do you dare to disobey me? Arriving in front of the main hall of Qin Zhu Peak, Zhong Han directly raised his troops to question the crime. Zhong Han, in the past, I, Luo Zhen, thought you were a person, so I always respected you. Even if you supported this bastard Su Shanhe to be the deputy sect leader, Luo Zhen wouldn't say anything. But this time it won't work. Qin Chu, I, Luo Zhen, bowing yes. Luo Zhen walked out of the Qin Zhu Peak Hall. You dare to disobey the orders of our sect leader. This is treason. Take it down. Zhong Han roared angrily. No one in Qinyan sect has ever challenged his authority. Who dares to take me? Who can take me? Luo Zhen pushed his right hand in front of him, and the Qin Wang Ling was displayed in front of everyone. Chapter 0069 A Good Dog. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. King Qin's order. At the critical moment, Luo Zhen took out the Qin Wang Ling. Who is treasonous? If you dare to ignore the Qin Wang order, then you, Zhong Han, are treasonous. Holding the Qin Wang order, Luo Zhen glared at Zhong Han and yelled. He was so angry that Zhong Han did not come to Qin Zhu Peak to understand the situation, so he directly announced that Qin Chu would be expelled from the Qinyan sect, and then came to deal with him, completely disregarding the overall situation. Luo Zhen, what do you mean? Looking at the Qin Wang Ling in Luo Zhen's hand, Zhong Han's mood stabilized. He was the sect master, but he couldn't treat Luo Zhen who was holding the Qin Wang Ling. The master of the Qin Wang Ling was equal to the sect leader. This is a rule set by the ancestors. As for being treasonous and unethical, there is no way to talk about it. What do you mean? I'm telling you that from today on, you don't have to worry about the affairs of Qin Zhu Peak. Qin Chu is a disciple of Qin Zhu Peak, and it's no one's turn to tell you where to go. Where did you come from? Looking at it. Zhong Han, Luo Zhen didn't give any face. What happened to the sect leader? The sect leader must also be reasonable when doing things. Zhong Han's face was livid, and Luo Zhen took out the Qin Wang Ling to fight against him. He really had nothing to do, and the sect's code could not be used on Luo Zhen. Luo Zhen, you are not caring about the overall situation. Su Shanhe spoke. He did not expect Luo Zhen and Zhong Han to force themselves, nor did he expect Luo Zhen to have the Qin Wang order in his hand. Shameless villain, without you stirring up trouble, would there be so many things? Luo Zhen took action and slashed towards Su Shanhe with a sword. He could not attack Zhong Han proactively, but he had no problem taking care of Xianxia. Xianxia drew out his sword to fight, but he was no match for Luo Zhen and was repulsed by Luo Zhen's sword. In the Qinyan sect, Luo Zhen is the strongest among the 7 peak masters. Xianxia is far worse and unable to compete. Peak Master Luo, you have gone too far. Zhonghan took action. He couldn't do it without taking action. Xianxia was no match for Luo Zhen. If he continued to fight, big trouble would easily happen. After a combined attack, the scene turned into Zhonghan and Xianxia attacking Luo Zhen together. How shameless, they actually attacked the Lord of the Qin Wang Order together. Lei Yin took action. She originally supported Luo Zhen, not to mention that Luo Zhen still had the Qin Wang Order in his hand. The group battle started in front of the main hall of Qingzhou Peak. You are really capable. Who gave you the right to attack Lord Qing? Mo Daozi, Ling Yunzi, and Lu Yuan showed up. They naturally knew that such a big thing happened to the sect. After appearing, Mo Daozi waved his sleeves and separated the 4 people in the battle. Your Majesty Mo, Zhonghan doesn't know that Master Luo Peak is the Lord of Qin Wang. Zhonghan hugged his fists at Mo Daozi. He felt that the situation had changed, because many people's attitudes had changed. Let's put this aside for now. What I want to know is, what's wrong with Qin Chu and why he was expelled from Qinyan sect? Mo Daozi looked at Zhonghan and asked. He has been disrespectful to the elders of the sect many times. Moreover, the overall situation of Qinyan sect is now the priority. If Qin Chu is not handed over, the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace will attack our Qinyan sect together. Together with Qinqing Pavilion, Qinyan sect will have great power. Crisis. Zhonghan said. Because of the crisis, you will expel the disciples who have contributed to the sect from the sect? Ling Yunzi was very angry. He knew about Qin Chu's fight for the Qinyan sect. As a sword cultivator, why did you back down when the Qinyan sect refused to accept the blame? Why didn't you dare to draw the sword when it was time to draw it? Are you still a sword cultivator? Looking at Zhonghan, Mo Daozi was deeply disappointed. He didn't expect that Zhonghan, who had left seclusion, would make such a decision. Your Majesty Mo, Zhonghan is doing this for the sake of the sect. Zhonghan's face turned ugly because after Mo Daozi appeared, he didn't say a word to Luo Zhen and directly found fault with him. Now let's see the opinions of the sect's peak masters and elders. Lu Yuan, notify all the peak masters and elders to come over for a meeting. Let's discuss how to deal with the next situation. Mo Daozi said to Lu Yuan, things have changed. Many people know that after Luo Zhen took out the Qin Wang Order, the Qinyan sect changed. Mo Daozi's words were very clear, it was a matter of negotiation, not following the arrangement of the sect leader. Soon, all the peak masters and elders of Qinyan sect arrived at the main hall of Qingzhou Peak. Luo Zhen was not polite. After hugging Mo Daozi and Ling Yunzi, he sat down in the main seat. Qingzhou Peak was his Luo Zhen's territory, and Zhonghan was not qualified to be the main seat. Now that foreign enemies are suppressing our territory, and there is no unified opinion within our Qinyan sect, now that everyone is here, let's discuss it. Mo Daozi spoke up, explaining the main purpose of this meeting. Zhonghan stood up and said, Qinyan sect is the foundation passed down by the ancestors of the sect and cannot be destroyed in our hands, so this time we have to avoid the spotlight temporarily and expel Qin Chu from the sect and hand him over to resolve this crisis. As a disciple of the Qinyan sect, Qin Chu should also make some contributions to the sect. After Zhonghan finished speaking, Xianxia, Zhang Ji, and the elders from the main peak expressed their agreement. Zhonghan was from the main peak, and what he said was in line with the psychology of some people, so naturally he had some support. Qinyan sect, as a swordsmanship sect, is actually too timid to fight. And there is no bottom line to hand over the disciples who fought bloody battles for the sect. This is very chilling. I don't agree. Lu Yuan spoke, and he looked at Zhonghan. Zhang Ji and others looked very angry because this went against the philosophy of Qinyan sect. Lu Yuan, are you disobeying the sect leader's order? Su Shanhe looked at Lu Yuan. Su Shanhe, you are not suitable to be the deputy sect leader. You are suitable to be a good dog. Now let's listen to what Lord Qin Wang has to say. Looking at Su Shanhe, Lu Yuan started scolding him. He had been putting up with Su Shanhe for a long time. Your Majesty Mo, I, Luo Zhen, can temporarily make some decisions on behalf of Lord Qin Wang. Lu Yuan looked at Mo Daozi. The third generation of the patriarch passed down the order, and Lord Qin Yun is the same as the sect leader. With the order of King Qing, you can naturally make some decisions. Mo Daozi nodded. Well, I, Luo Zhen, will tell you that no matter what others do, I, Qingzhu Peak, will never compromise. We, Qingzhu Peak, will not fight against each other in the early Qin dynasty. If the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace want to fight, then we will fight to the bitter end. Luo Zhen spoke out his attitude. At this time, Lei Yin, Lin Yi, and Anan all stood up and directly expressed their willingness to go to war. In addition, Huang Yan, the leader of Canyin Peak who did not attend the meeting last time, also expressed his desire to fight. Only the main peak and Luyun Peak did not express their stance. Luyun Peak Master Wei Yuan did not express his position. He couldn't stand Su Shanhe, but Zhong Han was his senior brother, so he chose to take Zhong Han's position, mainly because he felt that he could not fight now and had to compromise. Most people choose to fight, then Luo Zhen, you will arrange the battle. Mo Daozi spoke. When Mo Daozi spoke, the expressions of Zhong Han, Su Shanhe, Zhang Ji and others changed. The current situation showed that Mo Daozi wanted to support Luo Zhen's rise to power. Okay. Peak Master Lei Yin took over the Hall of Merit and the Treasure Pavilion, and temporarily closed the exchange of resources. Elder Lu arranged for people from the Law Enforcement Hall to maintain the stability of the sect. Those who deceive people will be killed. Elder Song arranged for people to find Qin Chu. Luo Zhen issued a series of orders. Big deal. In the Qinyan sect, whoever is in charge of the Hall of Merit, the Treasure Pavilion, and the Law Enforcement Hall has real power. Now Luo Zhen directly takes the real power. Chapter 0070 A Little Famous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhong Han's face was filled with anger, but what could he do now? Nothing can be done. The Law Enforcement Hall is where Lu Yuan is in power. Lu Yuan supports Luo Zhen, and then Luo Zhen takes control of the Law Enforcement Hall. In addition to the Law Enforcement Hall, Luo Zhen also received the support of the 5 peaks of Qinyan sect. Zhong Han can control the main peak and Luyun Peak. If Zhong Han insists on controlling the Hall of Merit and Treasure Pavilion, then the next step will be a battle. They couldn't afford to fight Luo Zhen, and Mo Daozi and Ling Yunzi supported Luo Zhen, which was one of the reasons why Luo Zhen came to power smoothly. With a flick of his sleeves, Zhong Han and Su Shanhe left with the people from the main peak and Luyun Peak. He knew that there was no point in staying any longer. He couldn't afford to fight hard. The identity of the sect leader was checked by the Qin Wang order. He had no power. Method. I am very heartbroken when the sect master makes such a decision. This goes against the original intention of the sword cultivator. According to his strategy, maybe the Qinyan sect can safely survive the current predicament, but it is only temporary. The Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace, he will never restrain his ambition to destroy our Qinyan sect. Moreover, without the fearless heart and courage, is the Qinyan sect still worthy of becoming a sword cultivator? Ling Yunzi said, he didn't bother much in the past. Regarding the sect's affairs, I really couldn't bear it this time. As a sword cultivator, how can you compromise in humiliation without even having the courage to draw your sword? So we must fight. Luo Zhen said. What about the main peak and Luyun Peak? Anan looked at Luo Zhen. Ignore them, we will fight ours. Lord Lei Peak must be optimistic about the Resource Hall and the Treasure Pavilion. Lord An will arrange for our inner sect elites from the 5 peaks to retreat to a safe place. We must fight, but we must also make some preparations. The inheritance of the sect's fire must be guaranteed, Luo Zhen said to Lei Yin. After hearing Luo Zhen's arrangement, both Mo Daozi and Ling Yunzi nodded with satisfaction. Luo Zhen's arrangement was in line with the overall situation. Two princes, Qin Chu's sword spirit realm is with him, and his sword intention has broken through to the second level, so we must pay attention to it. Luo Zhen has arranged for people to search for it. Luo Zhen said to Mo Daozi and Ling Yunzi, Qin when he first mastered the sword spirit realm, it was not a big secret in Qinyan sect, so he just said it outright. We have to look for it. Maybe our Qinyan sect will pay a heavy price to protect Qin Chu, but we have to be clear about the fact that after a genius rises, it will be an era. It is worth going through a difficult period and ushering in an era. Yes, this is true for all major sects, Mo Daozi said. Qin Chu returned to the area near Qinyan sect. While eating in a restaurant, he heard the news of the great changes in Qinyan sect. The leader of Qinyan sect was still Zhong Han, but Luo Zhen was already in charge of the situation. This situation made Qin Chu very happy. He didn't care about Qinyan sect, but he cared about Qingzhou Peak. After Luo Zhen took power, Qingzhou Peak would not become cannon fodder. In addition, he knew that Wolf King Palace and Blood Knife sect had united to attack Qinyan sect. And the people from Qinqing Pavilion are also on their way. This was a fight to the death. Qin Chu was torn in his heart. He left the Qinyan sect because he didn't want Luo Zhen to make it difficult. He left the letter to leave the Qinyan sect because he wanted the Qinyan sect to take the blame. The Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace were going to fight. There is no reason, but after Luo Zhen came to power, his letter of separation from the Qinyan sect was not made public. This shows that Luo Zhen is trying to protect him. In this case, can he ignore the Qinyan sect's affairs? It's obviously inappropriate, even a bit shameless. If they protect me, I have to go into the trap and fight. Qin Chu sighed and drank down the wine glass in his hand. You didn't escape, and you still plan to fall into the trap. As a law enforcement officer of Qinyan sect, I am very happy. A man in green robes came to the seat opposite Qin Chu and sat down. Who are you? Qin Chu asked, looking at the green-robed man in front of him. Qinyan sect law enforcement Hall Duan Feng. You may not know me, but you must know that my master is Elder Lu Yuan. Duan Feng said. He was ordered to come out to find Qin Chu, but he didn't expect to meet him in this tavern. How to escape? If Qingzhou Peak doesn't protect me, then I won't have anything to do with this turmoil. Whoever wants to fight can go there. But it can't happen now. Qingzhou Peak will not let me down, and I will definitely live up to Qingzhou Peak and go back. It depends on those bullies on the main peak, how uncomfortable it is. Qin Chu sighed. He was annoyed by Su Shanhe. Don't worry about them. Although the sect master has left seclusion, he is only concerned about the affairs of the main peak and Luyan Peak. The other 5 peaks have decided to fight. It should be said that they accepted the order of Lord Qin Wang to fight. After returning this time, you will not suffer anything. I'm wronged, Duan Feng said. Without saying anything else, Qin Chu followed Duan Feng and left the small town. After taking a detour, he returned to the Qinyan sect's mountain gate. Qinyan sect, I'm back again. I was bullied last time. I don't know if I will be bullied this time. After entering Qinyan sect, Qin Chu sighed with emotion. Were you bullied before? Maybe you were bullied, but as far as I know, you never tolerated it once. Duan Feng said with a smile. Ha! I can't help it. My strength is not very good, but my temper is not very good. Qin Chu touched his nose and found that he was somewhat famous in Qinyan sect. Duan Feng took Qin Chu to Qingzhou Peak and arrived at the main hall of Qingzhou Peak. In the main hall of Qingzhou Peak, Mo Daozi, Ling Yunzi, Luo Zhen and other senior leaders of the main fighting faction are all there. Seeing Qin Chu enter the hall, Mo Daozi stood up and walked out of his seat. His vitality pressed down on Qin Chu, and he reached out and knocked on Qin Chu's head. Who asked you to leave? Who asked you to leave? You are irresponsible. You little bastard, do you still want to ask me for help? Mo Daozi asked and knocked on his hand. Suppressed by Mo Daozi's vitality, Qin Chu had no temper at all and could only admit it. Qin Chu felt that it was difficult for Peak Master Luo and Qingzhu Peak, so he planned to leave. Besides, I didn't leave the letter. I want to go to war with the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace. This is not an escape. Qin Chu said, explaining. You still start a war. How many can you kill? Mo Daozi scolded Qin Chu angrily. They don't want to be alone. I will kill those who are alone. I will make them afraid when they hear Qin Chu's name. Although I have no cultivation for the time being, I can do this in 10 or 20 years. Something. Qin Chu said. The people in the Qingzhu Peak Hall can now confirm that Qin Chu is a ruthless person. It takes 10 or 20 years to do one thing. This is not something ordinary people can do. Then I ask you, after you leave, do you plan to ask me for help? Mo Daozi looked at Qin Chu and asked. How is that possible? I believe that after I kill a large number of people from the Blood Knife sect and the Wolf King Palace, you will still help me. Qin Chu said, this was also his plan before leaving. Take back your letter. You are still a disciple of Qinyan sect. Mo Daozi took out the letter Qin Chu left behind. Senior, Qin Chu is willing to be a disciple of Qingzhu Peak, but he doesn't plan to be a disciple of Qinyan sect. It's boring. I don't want to be abandoned after the battle. Qin Chu shook his head.